this is what's so tricky about living today, I think, because what we have to understand is the Bible teaches that wisdom comes from having true, proper foundational beliefs, right? The Proverbs say that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And to not believe that God exists and to begin with the premise that there is nothing to fear, there is no real morality. Like we can just sort of look at human nature and like discern what kind of morality we want to create. We're gonna have to, as Nietzsche says, we're just gonna have to create our own morality. That gives incredible conceit to very intellectually advanced people, and then allows them to begin to build their entire understanding of reality on a false premise, a false foundation. And that is what's happened to every single one of these universities is that they start from a false premise that there is no God, that we're going to have to somehow divine all of our beliefs from looking at, basic human nature or certain like philosophical systems. And then they start to build on this foundation where there is no fear of the Lord in the basement. And in that Iowa church, you have people that actually fear the Lord at the foundation of their lives. Like they say, I'm going to stand before a righteous God who has delivered to me a clear definition of what good and evil is. I'm going to need to take responsibility for each of my actions. That is the beginning of wisdom. And when you have that, you can begin to grow in wisdom and desire to please the Lord and know that everything that you're doing is God is watching, right? God is evaluating you and what you're doing. And this creates within you a framework of morality that is not inside of you, right? It comes from the outside. It comes from divine revelation, and that you have to grow in your understanding of it. And you have to constantly engage in this internal battle between these desires that you have, these good intentions that you want to see happen, and also understand that your own mind could be deceived at a foundational level and cause you to believe very advanced things that are basically wrong. And so you have these places that are the reason to go to university is for wisdom. Like that's the number one reason why you would spend 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, right? And even if you go for some other reason, even if you're like, hey, I don't really care about all that. I just want to get the technical skills to become a doctor or a lawyer. The problem, of course, is that these are liberal arts educations. You are going to be forced to sit through at least 2 years worth of classes that are designed through literature classes, through sociology, through psychology, all these classes that really make up a liberal arts education. They're designed to create the kind of person who can function in a liberated way. In other words, have the freedom in a free society to be liberal or to be liberated. And so, but the way that these secular universities have done that is they want to start from the premise there is no God, which is to completely destroy their project from the very beginning. Because now all of the things that they're teaching you about how to be a liberated person are actually handing you over to the slavery that's inside of you, because it's deifying these evil desires that are coming, or this confused understanding that I'm never going to have to stand before God. I don't need to fear the Lord. There is no judgment. There is no right and wrong. And so the deeper you go into a university with those premises, the more foolish you become. And that's why the smarter you are, and you live inside of this framework, the more foolish, the less wise you grow. And then we're like, oh, we should send all of our children to those institutions to learn wisdom. And we don't see the contradiction. We don't see that this is going to obviously create huge problems. There might be some small percentage of kids who can go through that process and come out the other end even more strongly rooted in Scripture, more strongly inspired by the fear of the Lord, more desiring to please God, and understanding those basic understandings of reality. But it's likely not to happen. And this is why just before this comment he made, Harvard led the way. This, our greatest institution for wisdom, on October 8th, before Israel had done anything to respond to what had happened on October 7th, we had something like 30 different student groups all pledging their support for Hamas or the Palestinians before Israel even responded. How do you become so foolish? Why did it start at Harvard? Like that is so important to understand that there's something at the foundation of these institutions that is making them foolish. And I think one of the things I love about Prager is he just puts his finger right on it. Like he's like, it's not about goodness, it's about wisdom. And they have destroyed their ability to find wisdom, yet they still are highly intelligent in that they have a lot of intellectual horsepower. So they're able to construct whole systems of thought devoid of wisdom, which takes a lot of intelligence. And so that's kind of where we're left.